Hello, hello. Yeah. Chat so I can know who's in class. Okay. In the text box, just type in your name. What's up, yourself? What's up, Michaela? All right. Today we're gonna do rounding decimals. All right. It's gonna be real quick. All right. What's up, darling? Hey, Amy. I hope y'all been well. In summer school, we go at 11 o'clock. All right, instead of 12. All right. That way you guys can get back to your day. I don't want to take up too much of your time. All right. Anyone who's new here, you can just type in your name. All right. Hey, Claudia. All right. Um, so a lot of you said, Mr. Traham, I haven't received my report card yet. All right. So if you have not received your report card, you need to get it because that's how you're going to get into middle school. It has to say promoted to 6th grade. All right. So if you're looking for your report card and you haven't got it yet, then maybe your address is wrong at the school. Maybe the school has your old address. Right. So if I were you, call the school. All right. Call the school so you can see your address, so you can see if they have your new address. All right. Or you can set up a time to come pick up your report card. All right. Yourself, this is page 15. Hey, Yalen, what's up? All right. Hey, Natalie, what's up? All right. Again, it's not going to be a full class because only you find your report card online. Because I know some guys were looking online for it. All right. This is a review yourself, so that's fine. We're gonna do page 15. Okay. Um, Waiting for a couple of more people. I'm supposed to invite a couple more people. Um, I'll start in about. I'll give them another minute, then we'll start. All right. Again, in summer school, we're gonna do 11 o'clock. We're gonna go to 11 to about 11:30. Then the rest of the work will be on Education Galaxy. Okay. Real easy. All right. All right. Again, I want to remind you if you do not have your report card, you need it before you go to middle school. So call the school because the school might have the wrong address for you. All right. Just call the front office. Okay. All right. Um, Today we're going to look at rounding decimals. All right. This is page 15 out of the Star Mastery book. All right. Most of the kids who were in my class, they should already have their Star Mastery book. So, um, if not, um, you guys can send me a message and I'll try to see if I can get you one. All right. Um, Number one. This is number one for page 15. All right. Page 15, number one. All right. It says Camila. All right. Um, Sorry, there's two L's. Camila spent $16.37 on snacks and a movie ticket. If she rounds this amount to the nearest 10 cent, how much did Camila spend? All right. Hey, Joanna, what's up? All right. So today we're going to take the amount of money that Camila was rounding. Oh, the amount of money that Camila spent on snacks, and we're going to round it to the nearest 10 cent. To the nearest 10 cent means to the nearest dime. 10 cent. All right. So now the goal is to round $16.37 to the nearest 10 cent. All right. $16.37 to the nearest 10 cent. All right. Now, you know that 10 cent is not the nearest dollar. cent is part of a dollar. Cent is change, right? So remember, this decimal point separates the dollars from the cent. So you know, cent would be over here. So we're gonna round 37 cents, right? Hi Miguel, I see you. We're gonna round 37 cents to the nearest 10 cents, right? Well, 10 cents is dimes. All right. And when you round, I want you to mean two of the rounded answers. What do you mean, Mr. T? If I'm rounding to the nearest 10 cent, then that means $10 between two 10-cent places. What do you mean, Mr. It's between $16.30 and $16.40. Because $16.37 is between these nearest 10 cents. Right? Again, 10 cents are dimes. Right? So your answer is either one of these. Either the 10-cent place is going to stay the same, or the 10-cent place is going to go up by one. Right? When you're rounding, there's only two real places you can go. If I'm rounding to the nearest 10 cent, the 10-cent spot can stay the same, or the 10-cent spot can go up by one. So it makes sense because 37 cents is between 30 cents and 40 cents. Right? Now we look at this 7. The 7 will tell you which one it's closer to. If I was counting and I have 30 cents, I have 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. I'm 7 numbers away from 30 cents. Right? But if I continue to counting and I count up 37, 3 numbers away from 40 cents, which means that 37 cents is actually closer to 40 cents. That 7 will tell this 3 to go up to $16.40. So if you want to round Camilla's money that she spent on snacks to the nearest 10 cents, well, $16.37 is close to $16.40. All right. Now, I want to remind you the rules of rounding. All right. Miguel, I'm gonna call you after we're over, and I'm gonna work out how you can get a book. Okay. All right. So I want to remind you the rules of rounding. The rules of rounding says whatever spot you're rounding to, look at the spot behind it. If the spot behind it is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, that makes the number stay the same. If the spot behind it is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it makes the number go up. And you're going to go up by 1. The rules of rounding. All right. Now, again, if you look at this, the 10-cent spot is where the 3 is. So you have to look behind it. There's a 7 behind it. And according to the rules of rounding, the 7 makes it go up by 1. So the 3 has to go up by 1 and become 4. All right? If you have any questions about number 1, what you can do is type it in right now in the chat. If you don't have any questions about number 1, then I want you to type in the symbol that's a circle with the line drawn through it. If you're new to my class, that symbol means no questions. All right. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. If not, you can put in the circle with the line drawn through. All right. Hey, Miss Anubi, what's up? All righty. All right. Michaela's good. Natalie's good. Yourself's good. Miguel, do you have any questions about rounding? About that question before we go on? All right, Yaylin, no questions. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and write number 2. All right. If you have any questions at any time, y'all can type it in. All right. This is number 2. Number 2 says, if rounded to the nearest tenth, 47 and 98 thousandths would round to what? This is wants to be rounded to the nearest tenth. All right. This is number 2 in your textbook, page 15. All right. Now, I left the rules of rounding because you're still going to need them. I left the rules of rounding. All right. Now, in this number, I have 47 wholes and 98, and that 8 is in the thousands place. Right? But I want to round to the nearest 10. Right? So I'm going to take it back a little bit. We're going to take it back to the place value chart. Right? The beauty about a place value chart is it helps you separate the whole numbers from the parts. Right? The decimal point separates the whole numbers from the parts of a whole. Because 47 is on the left side of the decimal point, that's where the whole numbers are. So it's 47 whole numbers. And then the right side of the decimal point is the parts of a whole. Right? So if you get enough of these parts, eventually it'll become a whole. It'll cross over the decimal point. All right? So I want you guys to remember that. That's the difference between a decimal and a whole number. This decimal point separates the whole numbers from the parts. All right. Now I have 47.098. So 47 is on the whole number side. All right. So if I'm drawing a place value chart, I have 2 spots. Obviously, this spot is 1s and this spot is 10s, but they're on the whole side. So the 7 is 7 1s because it's right by the decimal point, and the 4 is 4 10s, which makes sense because 47 is 4 10s and 7 1s. Right? So far we're good on the whole number side. Now on the part side, we have 3 different digits. All right. Directly behind the decimal point is the tenths. TENTHS. Right? Then the next spot is hundredths. And the last spot is thousandths. All right. Now, if you're in my class, you remember this TH. When you see the TH, those THs means parts, right? That suffix TH on the end, it means parts. So 10 TH means 10 parts. That means it takes 10 of them to make a whole dime. It takes 10 of them to make a whole, which means that's the dime because it takes 10 dimes to make a whole, right? So tenths is like dimes, right? Hundredths means it take 100 parts. So if you're talking about money, hundreds would be like pennies because it takes 100 parts to make a whole dollar, right? And thousandths with a th on the end, it means it takes 1,000 parts to make a whole, right? So this is 47 wholes. It's 0 in the tenths place, 9 in the hundreds place, and 8 in the thousands place, right? And I want to take this number and round it to the nearest 10, right? Which means I'm going to be rounding where this 0 is, right? Rounding to the nearest 10. Now, there are only two answers in rounding. I want to take you back to my rules of rounding. Rules of rounding, it either going to stay the same or it's going to go up by 1. So if I'm rounding to the nearest 10th, it's either going to stay the same with 0 or it's going to go up by 1. So 47.1. These are my only two answers. Is either going to stay the same at 47.0 or go up by 1 to 47.1. Right? So these are my only two answer choices. Now, what determines what the answer will be is the number behind it. Right? So if I look behind it, there's a 9. Now, you use this 9 right here. Right? The 9 you look for, and the 9 is right here, which means goes up by 1. So that means because this is a 9, it's telling this 0 to go up by 1. And everything in front of it stays the same. The decimal point stays, the 7 stays, and the 4 stays, right? Because this 9 falls right here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's telling you to go up by 1. The 0 goes up by 1, everything else stays the same, which means that this number rounded to the nearest 10th is 47.1, right? You say, Mr. Trahan, what about what's behind it? Everything behind it can be a 0, right? Any questions about number 2? You can type it in. If not, you can put in the symbol, the circle with the lines running through. All right? Or some of the kids like to put the Wakanda symbol, right? That means no questions. All right? I'll give you a couple seconds to look that over. If you have no questions, type it in. All right? Natalie, no questions. Yacel, no questions. Yaylin, no questions. Michaela, no questions. Miguel, if you have any questions, you could type it in as well. All right. This is rounding. All right. All right. I'll give you a few more seconds. Then we'll do number 3. All right. Number 3 says when rounded to the nearest hundredth, which number equals 46 and 49 and 600ths? You're looking for this number when rounded to the nearest hundredth. All right. So you got 4 answer choices. You got A, B, C, and D. They gave you different numbers, and you want to know which one rounds to 49 and 600 when rounded to the nearest hundred. Now, you don't round this number to the nearest hundred. You take all your answer choices and you round them to the nearest hundred. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all 4 of those answer choices in the place value chart, and we're going to see which one rounds to the nearest hundred. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put all 4 of these numbers in the place value chart. Again, this is tens, this is ones, this is tenths, this is hundredths, and then this is thousandths. All right. Now, the first answer, letter A, is 49 and 049 thousandths. Again, your goal is to round to the nearest hundred. All right, which means we're going to be looking at this spot right here. All right, now 49 and 049 thousandths, right? I want to round it to the hundred to see if it equals this. All right, so right now I have a 4, right? So the 9 is supposed to tell the 4 what to do, right? So right here, I'm going to look for the 9. The 9 is going to tell the 4 to go up by 1. So if the 4 goes up by 1, it becomes a 5, and everything in front of it stays the same. That means that 49.049 rounded to the nearest hundred is 49.05. All right. That's not correct because we're looking at for 49.06. All right. So that means A is wrong. All right. Now, B says 49.052. All right. Now, we're still rounded to the nearest hundred. So we have a 5 there, but now we're using a rule of rounding on this 2. So if you look right here, 2 is right here. 2 is going to tell that 5 to stay the same, which means 5 is going to stay the same. Everything in front of it is going to stay the same as well, which means that 49.052 rounded to the nearest hundred is 49.05. Which means B is also wrong because we're looking for 49.06. All right. Letter C says 49.058. All right. Now, I still have the 5 in the hundreds place, but now I'm looking for 8. 8 is 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is right here. The 8 tells the 5 to go up by 1. Because there's an 8 there, the 5 has to go up by 1. So 5 goes up by 1. It becomes the 6. Right? Again, this 8 is telling this 5 to go up by 1. That becomes a 6. Everything in front of it stays the same. All right. And if you look, that's what you're looking for, 49.06. Which means the answer is C, because 49.058 is letter C. All right. Any questions about number 3? You can type it in. If not, you can put in the symbol, the circle with the 0. If you're having any questions and you want one-on-one help, then we can set up a Zoom call, or we can do Microsoft Teams, and I'll give you one-on-one intervention. All right. So I want y'all to know that if you have something that you don't understand and you don't want to say it on YouTube, then you could just email me or text me, and we can set up a time on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and I could talk to you one-on-one. I can give you intervention one-on-one. Okay. All righty. 2 more problems and we'll be done. Okay. Yaylin is good. Michaela's good. Yesel. All right. Natalie's good. Okay. All right. We're going to do number 4 and number 5. This is number 4 right here. Number 4 says, when rounded to the nearest 100, Brian's batting average was 0.350. This is the number. They took some number and they rounded it to the nearest 100. And this is what they got, 0.350. All right. Now, what number was his actual number? So they want you to go backwards and they want you to find what number was actually rounded to it. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did. I'm going to put a place value chart. Again, this is ones. This is tenths, hundredths, and thousands. All right. In the ones place, I'm sorry. You want your answers to be 0.350 when rounding the number to the hundreds. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the answer choices and we're going to put them all in and round them to the nearest 100, just like we did for number 3. One of the answers is going to round to 0.350 when you round it to the nearest 100. So again, this is the spot that we're looking for, which means the 1,000 spot is going to tell the 100 spot what to do, which means we're going to take the 1,000 spot and look over here. And this is what the 100 spot should do. All right. Now, the first number for letter A is 0.359. All right. So if you're looking in a book, this is A. right? Now, let's round it to the nearest hundred. There's a 5 here. All right. And behind it is a 9. So this 9, you need to look over here and say, okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 means go up by 1. So this 5 must go up by 1 to 6. All right. Everything in front of it stays the same, which means 0.359 rounded to the nearest hundredths is 0.360. That's not the same thing as this. So that means A is incorrect. All right. Now, if we look at B, B says 0.354. Right? Again, we're rounding it to the nearest hundred. Right? Now, if the 5 is still there, now we're looking at the 4. Again, we go over here and we see the 4 means stay the same. So the circled spot stays the same. 5 is going to stay the same. All right. Everything in front of it stays the same. And anything behind it will be a 0. Now, 0.350 is what we got to, which means that 0.354 is the answer. All right. And that's letter B. All right. Again, because the 4 is there, the 4 means stay the same. So 4 is going to tell the 5, hey, 5, stay the same. And when it stays the same, it matches what you're looking for. All right? All right. Any questions about number 4? You can type it in. If not, you can put the symbol. All right? All right. All right. We'll do the last one for today. After we do this one, I want you to do skill practice in Education Galaxy. All right. If you're in Education Galaxy, I can see if you're doing work or not. And part of your grade will be Education Galaxy. So what I want you to do is when we finish doing number 5, and we get off of here, I want you to do skill practice. So log into Education Galaxy, and I want you to click on skill practice, and I want you to look for 5.2c rounding decimals. And all you have to do is the skill practice for rounding decimals, and you'll be done for today. Okay? So every day I'm going to teach you a lesson, then you're going to do the skill practice for homework. Okay? All right. This is number 5. All right, page 15. It says Inslee rode her bike 13 and 268 thousandths miles last week. If she rounds this distance to the nearest hundred, again, we're going to round to the nearest hundred. How far did Inslee ride her bike? This time, we want to take this number and round it to the nearest hundred. All right? So, again, that place value chart is very helpful. This is tens, ones, 1/10, hundredths, and this is thousand. All right. So 13 is 110 and 3 ones. All right. 264,000 is what? 2 is in the 10th spot, 6 is in the 100th spot, and 8 is in the 1,000th spot. Okay. Now I want to round it to the nearest 100. Again, I want to remind you, when you are rounding, you circle the spot that you are rounding to. I am rounding to the nearest 100. So I'm going to circle the 100 spot. That helps you to focus on the spot you're supposed to round to. Now the spot behind it will tell the circle spot what to do. I'm rounding to the nearest 100, but the spot behind it, the 8, is going to tell it what to do, Mr. You say, Mr. Trahan, what do you mean tell it what to do? Well, you're going to use the 8 right here. And since the 8 is right here, it's going to tell it what to do. That means that 8 is going to tell this 6 to go up by 1. All right? So the 8 is going to tell this 6 to go up by 1, and it's going to become 7. And everything in front of it stays the same. The 2 stays the same. The decimal point stays the same. The 3 in the 1's place stays the same. And the 1 in the 10's place stays the same. What that means is 13.268, when rounded to the nearest hundreds, is 13.27. All right? If you need to put something right here, you can always put a 0. All right? But most of the time, you'll see the answer with nothing after the hundreds place, because that's where they want you to round to, the hundreds place. All right? Again, just an overview of what we learned today. You can use a place value chart to help you round. So put the number in the place value chart. Then after you do that, find what spot you want to round to, and you're going to circle it. All right, I'm rounding to the 100, so I circle the 100 spot. After you do that, look behind the spot. So if I'm rounding to the hundreds, I look behind it in the 1,000 spot. Whatever number is in the spot behind it, use these rules, and this will tell the circle spot what to do. Right? If an 8 is behind it, then the circle spot needs to go up by 1. All right? So I want you to remember the rules of rounding. Right? If you get confused when you're doing your skill practice on Education Galaxy, then you can go back and look at this video because it will be saved on YouTube. Okay? Any questions about rounding at all, you can type it in right now, or you can put the no question sign or the Wakanda sign. Okay. All right. It seems like you don't have any questions. All right. So again, I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna contact Miguel. I'm gonna call you and we're gonna set up how you can get a book. All right. Any other questions, you can always send me a message on Instagram, or you can send me a message through Teams, through Microsoft Teams. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 11. Again, we're going to do Monday through Thursday at 11 o'clock. I'm going to go live. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to have to work on the light. There's a window behind me, so you can't see because of the light. All right. So Michaela and Miguel, I'm going to see. Um, I'm going to see about getting you a book. Okay. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 11. Okay. Peace.